好，谢谢啊，谢谢啊。
等得嚟行樓梯嘛。等得嚟行樓梯嘛。等得嚟行樓梯嘛。
华丰国货公司是吧？
等得嚟行樓梯嘛。
华丰国货公司是吧？好，谢谢啊，谢谢啊。
等得嚟行樓梯嘛。等得嚟行樓梯嘛。
华丰国货公司是吧？好，谢谢啊，谢谢啊。
等得嚟行樓梯嘛。
Bad fade out again. That's 2 weeks in a row. Bad fade out. Hello, John Kulas here, 20-year professor of industrial and organizational psychology, 10-year user of R for statistical applications, and for the last 6 or 7 years, I've also been using R to author things like academic papers and slide decks and technical reports and feedback reports and anything that has an element of data with it in addition to documentation or prose or writing. So every week I get together with some collaborators here. Lately it's mostly been Diego. So Diego and I are kind of partners in crime with this recently. But we just hold these what we're calling open office hours, and we're here for an hour to be a resource if anyone else out there is interested in using R as an authoring platform. So we're here to answer any questions people might have. How do we get started? How do I overcome an obstacle that I'm encountering? Um, and in the meantime, if there's nobody who has questions or has an idea that they want to bounce off of one of us, what we've been doing is we've been doing feature focuses. And so today, I hope Diego shows up because he's more familiar with this feature than I am. I learned about it for the first time just within the last week here, really. Diego had mentioned it, but I wasn't really sure what it was referring to. So I just started playing with it in earnest this morning. But so today's feature focus is going to be these backgrounds. And so I put images here before I really understood that I think that it's an ay caramba. So so I thought I had my internet problems hopefully solved. So I guess it's just problem solving like what we do every week with these authoring issues. But I have a new piece of hardware here. And the new piece of hardware I was hoping would solve the internet issues, but it looks like I'm going to need to just get a different provider. So that might be a longer term solution. Now it's more important that Diego shows up, so he has more stable internet than I do. But so today we'll be looking at these backgrounds, and the backgrounds kind of track as you progress along the slide deck. And so these, I believe, are only applicable to HTML type slide formats, which is what you're looking at right now is an HTML slide. Um, I we might we might kind of test the boundaries of this a little bit and see if it's applicable in any way whatsoever to different types of HTML formats. We'll see how much time and interest we have today with that. But because we do these kind of open-ended explorations into features, and we don't really know what direction it's going to go at the start of the office hour, what we'll do each week is we'll also recap what happened last week and present it in a more linear or easily to digest and learn kind of format. So let's go ahead and do that now.
Last time, you remember, our heroes and the Moon Men discovered that they couldn't leave Pennsylvania because everybody else in the country wanted to get out, too. As a result, our boys found themselves at the end of a waiting line a mile long.
But why do all these people want to leave?
Why are you going? Well, let's be nice and say we just despise the place.
So do they.
Well, when's the next train leave?
Hard to tell.
Why?
Somebody stole the tracks.
Gee, this looks bad, Rocky.
You mean we're stuck here in Pennsylvania? Gee, how are we ever gonna get out?
Look there! That's how!
Tick-tock taxi company, 2 drivers, no waiting.
Oh, boy, a taxi cab! Quick, climb in! I wonder why they call this the Tick-Tock Taxi Company.
Rocky wouldn't have asked if he'd been able to see under the back seat, for the entire rear of the taxi was one big time bomb.
Or at least I have bad internet, but at least I'm not in any danger of blowing up anytime soon. I don't think. I guess I should knock on wood for that. Knock on wood. Last few weeks, so today is going to be a deviation from the last, I think, 5 or 6 weeks where we were looking at ways to introduce interactivity into our authored documents without using that entire Shiny ecosystem. And Shiny programming really, it's almost a different set of R scripting skills in terms of the structure of it and the requirements of it. And so there's lots of different options beyond Shiny to do some kind of neat interactive things. And so we have this script on the left here. You could take this, copy it, and put it in your own machine. And as long as you have Plotly, you can get these same times. Oh, God. The reason I chose this particular plot. Sorry, I'm going to try not to be disappointed in my internet here. The reason I chose this particular plot is it demonstrates what really we were focused on last week, which was the control that we might want to exert over an interactive visual like this, such that we don't need to use these scrolling bars like you see here on the bottom, this vertical or this horizontal scrolling bar. Oh, thank goodness Diego's here because he might need to save the day.
Vamos a ver, ¿qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué es lo que pasa con los alcaldes? ¿Qué es lo que sí, qué está pasando con los alcaldes?
Hey, hello.
Diego, my internet is like wonkier than.
Oh yeah, you just cut off. right when you were saying your internet is bad, you cut off.
I don't know what to do. I'm looking at the thing right here. It's got 3 bars. I don't know. 3 bars sounds good to me. If it was my phone, I'd be happy with it.
Today I also had technical issues in which I changed my card, my credit card, my debit card, because it was gonna expire soon. So I changed it, but I didn't update my AT&T service, so they canceled it. So today Danny was trying to contact me for something, and yeah, my phone was just non-respondent.
That's not fun. Yeah, these tech issues. I don't know. I guess at least we're not sitting in Tel Aviv because apparently that's pretty bad right now. So could be worse, I guess. And we're not rocking
Oh, he's out
and
again.
Bullwinkle. Although every week that we do the every week we do those segues, and they're about to meet some horrible demise. And doggone, it, this is ridiculous. Do I keep freezing?
A little bit, yeah. Maybe
Eh,
not as bad as before.
All right. Let me try to get through this. And Diego, do you mind maybe doing the parallax thing? Is that okay, or do you have?
Sure.
Okay. So once we
See
get
if I
to
can
it,
find code for that.
if you want to pull, if you want to pull the slide, the QMD for this week, the 10 underscore one, um, let me show you here. So it's actually 10 underscore one underscore 24, that QMD. I have on lines 9 through 12. I actually have the parallax scripting commented out.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So
good.
if you just pull this, we can play with that. And we'll walk through that in a second here once hopefully I get through the stupid recap. So the HTML widgets, we were interested in exerting some level of control over these types of images such that the entire image is plotted in one kind of space and you don't have to do much with it. So if we go to the what we're calling widgetized frame, and again, you may have to refresh your browser in order to see this well enough. Let me see. I don't
Do you
want
hear
to.
Mealy?
Yeah, I heard it's.
It's
She
like
sounds like a rooster. I heard like doodle-doo.
she's saying book. She's very into reading books.
Oh, nice. Well,
I
she
only have until September 24
for what?
for the slides when I pull.
Uh,
There you push
that's
this week.
weird. Cause yeah, I don't have anything in my environment. I pushed it this morning. Are you in the live streams folder?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a bunch of subfolders in there.
Oh,
You might be like in an image, or you might be in one of these
no, I'm in the main
individual.
one, in the live
Oh,
streams.
okay. Doggone it. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that uh, once I hand it off to you, because like I said, I think I'm gonna have to hand this off. So the default plot when we're running the volcano um, a
Oh,
volcano
I found
plot
it.
like this.
It's at the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool, awesome, thanks.
here it is.
Uh, the default has this horizontal scrolling that we need. If we take a look at the um, widgetized version, and that's not a technical term. We just made it up. But you see, it comes in on one screen, so you don't have to scroll. And there's further levels of control that you can exert over this frame widget command. And this isn't the only way to do it. It seemed like the most straightforward way. There's one additional feature here on these interactive slides that seems to be helped out by this frame widget function. And that is not just I'm getting everything on one screen without the kind of annoying scroll bars, but if I want to use it's recognizing that my cursor is hovering within the image. And so that's actually something that I wasn't expecting and I'm really happy for. And it sounds silly and it sounds like maybe a little thing. But if we go back to the default specification, I should be able to do the same zooming on each of these four individual plots. But because in the overall slide deck, I have the mouse wheel enabled to cue the slide advancement from this slide to the next slide. Even if I'm hovering over this image and I use the mouse wheel, it's gonna jump. And so if you've watched a few of these sessions, you've probably seen, you've, hopefully you didn't get seasick, but you've probably seen me unintentionally just kind of jump from one slide to another when I don't want to do that. So what I'm intending to do in those applications is I'm intending to isolate an element like this and then zoom in on it. Now, when I do that here, I'm going to advance the slide. However, if I just throw that image, and so I didn't repeat the entire code, but the fig object is created here on lines 3 through 38, and it's called out here. So if I just ask for fig in fig stands for figure in this application, in the widget, now my zoom, my scrolling, my mouse wheel is actually self-contained within this, and I can have all the interactivity that I want, and it doesn't interfere with my ability to navigate the slides. And so again, I keep saying first world problems, but it is an issue that is relevant for this stream in particular because I do have a propensity, I guess, to make other people sick by trying to advance or trying to interact with something in the field of view here and accidentally advancing the slide as I'll do right now. So I'm trying to zoom, but instead of zooming, I'll advance the slide. Let me show you, actually, you can still zoom using the Plotly legend up here, but I just can't zoom using the wheelbar. If I try to use the wheelbar, then I'm going to actually advance the slides. And so that's kind of something neat that we got out of looking more carefully at these interactive non-shiny objects that are kind of just generically referred to as widgets. And so these widgets are being rendered in an HTML interpretable form, so hence HTML widgets. Now today, and Diego's going to have to do this, I think, because my internet is just unfortunately worse than ever. So today we're going to take a look at these parallax images, and I think maybe the best way to start looking at this is to take a look at today's slide decks. And so, and again, if you're not someone that's used to using R as an authoring platform, don't let all of this junk scare you because it's really not that bad. This is a bunch of YAML stuff that we've built up over the course of almost a year now of doing these. So we've kind of slowly, subtly, every week it's just a little tiny tweak that we might add to our slide deck to get it in a format that we really like. Now, what I've done here is I've enabled that parallax background, and you'll see now it's the same slide deck, but we've given priority to this background image that is on our first slide, and we can play with the size of it, and I'm sure that's something that Diego will do. The opacity of it, you'll see this is different than what it looks like on the slide deck that's accessible in the comments. And that's because I usually mute the background of whatever the image is a little bit by playing with the opacity. And playing with the opacity makes some of those vibrant colors a little more muted, and it makes the lettering, the R for authoring, OOH session number 45, parallax images, it makes that pop a little more. So I didn't play with opacity at all. I'm guessing we probably can in these parallax backgrounds, but you'll see what happens now when we advance the slide. And this is the feature that I think Diego is most interested in. And correct me if I'm wrong, Diego, but you noticed that there's this option to get a background that kind of tracks with you along the slides, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like so. Yeah. My reasoning being that, like when you create a book, I thought it would be cool that as you are reading, images related to what you're reading are also moving with you.
that's pretty cool. So Diego, think about like Lord of the Rings type journey or something, right? So if you were reading chapter 1 through chapter 2 to chapter 3, maybe you like are on a trail going like approaching Bree and then going to Misty
Yeah.
Mountains or whatever,
Yeah. Kind of like a comic book, but not really.
That's pretty cool. So I just played around it this morning for really the first time. But what you'll notice, so I'm going to advance these slides in a second here, and what you'll notice is some left and right uh, tracking with the background image, and you'll notice some up and down tracking. And Diego, I think that's something that we'll play with tonight. Is we can go in there and specify whether we want the slides to advance vertically or horizontally, which to me never made that big of a difference. But if we enable this parallax background, it does make a big difference, because you'll see as we start to advance here, you see as we go from left to right, so first screen, second screen, as it's swiping in from the right, the background is just tracking exactly with that. Now, a couple of slides are coming in left to right, and then I think this next one, yeah, the next one's actually coming in up and down. So that vertical introduction of the content is being tracked along the image, and that's pretty neat. I think I didn't know that this was a thing, Diego, until you decided that maybe we should look at it. So I think I am going to hand it over just because my internet's so spotty. So sorry about that. Diego, do you want to share screen and play with this?
Yeah.
Maybe we create a new slide deck. Let me get rid of mine here. Maybe we create, or you create a new slide deck from scratch, and then we can find some neat images. It doesn't need to be Hal Jordan there, the Green Lantern. I thought we talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? Parallax is actually some
Yeah, the bad guy.
Green Lantern. It's a bad guy, yeah.
He was the protagonist and then became corrupted or something like that.
Oh, he was a good guy? Okay. Those I always thought, because when I grew up, Sinestro was like one of the scariest evil Justice League people, and I thought that all yellow ring wielders were like evil, but it turns out that that's not the case, right? Like Sinestro used to be a good guy. He used to be like the most powerful lantern, but I think he was a yellow lantern, not a green lantern.
Well,
I don't know. We're getting really nerdy now, I guess.
I remember watching the Ryan Reynolds movie, and then I looked it up.
Which
and
one?
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. It came out like
Yep.
years ago, and it was terrible. And I just remember reading that he's supposed to become
Hated it.
the yellow bad, like the yellow bad guy that he fights. It's actually in the comic books. It's himself. He's Parallax Jordan. His name Jordan something.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. So Parallax is like a parallel version of himself.
Or himself in the future becoming corrupted by the yellow ring.
Oh,
I don't
that's scary.
remember. Didn't actually read the comics.
Well, in the movie, Parallax was this big, like, planet-eating blob thing.
So how do you do the thing where it scrolls to the side?
Yeah, if you go back to the QMD, we'll take a look at that. And so the guides that I was looking at were recommending that you just do it in the YAML. Now, when I first just started playing around, I was actually trying to do it on individual slides. If we have time, it'd be neat to go back and try that. But if you just uncomment lines 9 through 12 there, Diego, and then maybe you might also want to add a new comment to line 5, because that's how I usually do the background. With a different kind of section of the YAML, I work in the title slide attributes. So I'm not positive that you need to disable that, but I would recommend probably doing it. Just comment that out on line 5. And then, and then the parallax commands should be sufficient for the background. And then as long as this works, maybe we try a couple of different backgrounds. Should we look for like a Lord of the Rings background?
Oh yeah. Oh, pretty cool.
And then
it moves around the background. Lord of the Rings background. It would need to be such a big
It,
image.
well, I was thinking like a map of Middle Earth, because the thing that you can do, Diego, if you look at the specifications on lines, well, maybe let's look at lines 9 through 12 and just kind of read through them. Because 9 is just specifying the image. If you blow that up a little bit, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, that looks great. Thanks. So 9 is just specifying the image, so we could try a different image. And then that 10, 11, and 12, those are specifying the size of the image and then how much distance of the image you travel either vertically or horizontally. And so that's what that 200 and
Hmm.
100 mean. But if you want to play with the pixels of the image, Diego, you can do that as well. Because we did notice on when you were looking at your screen, the image itself was tiled, right? So it started to kind of repeat itself.
Yeah.
If we make it large enough, we shouldn't do that.
Let's put it like that.
And then the other thing that is probably affecting it is if you're looking at a full screen view or not. So if you hit F on your keyboard, you're gonna get a full
Oh,
screen,
it's
and
still cutting out.
so you won't see. Yeah, but maybe try it with a full screen, Diego, because I'm curious.
Oh, full screen. F5. No, wait, it wasn't F5. It's How do you put full screen?
It's just F. It's just F on there, or you can use the. Um, yeah. Oh, it is still tiled. Okay. So it looks like we want the vertical to be a little bigger, right? Let me look that up for you to see which of the two, because we have two pixels specified. We got a first one and a second one. I'm not sure if first is horizontal or second is horizontal. So I'm gonna try to look that up. And then that one that you're playing with there on line 11, that's that's gonna specify how that's gonna specify how much you jump either vertically or horizontally. So you're gonna go a lot further when that number is bigger.
Oh,
Why don't you put a picture of Millie in there? Let's do a different. Start from scratch and do a picture of Millie in the background.
hmm.
Or do you not want to do that? You don't want to dox her on the internet. You could put
True.
in. We could. Let's see. What should we put in as a background image? Any
Let's see.
suggestions? Let's see.
Lord of the Rings map.
How about Gollum? Oh yeah, I like that map idea.
I've never seen this
I
map.
really didn't. I really didn't like how Gollum was
Oh, this is
portrayed
the game.
in the movies.
How come?
I liked the actor and what the actor did, but I didn't like the look of him. There's a couple. If you just do image search on maps, I'm seeing one with character paths through it. Diego, I did a Lord of the Rings map search and then just looked for images, and there were a bunch of ones uh, that you'll probably be okay with. Oh, I see. You did the Uber Geek version. You just did LOTR. Have you noticed
I
that
actually put an O.
within geekdom, within nerddom, like Superbook Heroes, Lord of the Rings, fantasy realm stuff, the use of acronyms is like out of control. I thought IO psychology was bad, but within like superhero applications and Lord of the Rings applications, Star Wars applications, the
Applications? What do you mean by
like
applications?
forums and when people communicate or
Oh,
talk about it, even on like Twitter and things, it seems like everything's an acronym. So, for example, I love the original Star Wars, right? I kind of despise the new stuff because I for various reasons, but
for good
um,
reasons.
well, yeah. The first one now is no longer called just Star Wars, or it's no longer referred to as Episode 4. It's ANH. People will refer to it as ANH, A New Hope, or
Oh, yeah.
Empire Strikes Back as ESB. And I hate that I know these things. Like I've been on the periphery of communicating about these things for long enough that I actually now know how to read the stupid geekdom stuff. I don't know. I'm getting to hate acronyms.
Yeah, and like in Spain, like we don't use that many acronyms. Like
Good.
we just use the
Maybe I'll
full
move to
name.
Spain.
We still use them. We're getting influenced by the U.S. But yeah, when I was there, like for government agencies, they give you the full name, so you know what's going
Oh,
on. It's not
crying
like
out loud. Government agencies are the worst.
yeah, they have acronyms for everything, and especially where I work now at ETS, they have acronyms for like
Well,
so many things. It's crazy.
your work is an acronym.
Yeah, yeah. Everything's an acronym, and they just I go to meetings and everyone's just talking in acronyms, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Just speak English, please.
The worst part about it is you're going to become one of them. So yeah, I've been there too. I've been there. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on and what these people are talking about. That's one of the drawbacks of being smart, Diego. You're smart. So the one of the unfortunate things is you're going to learn all that stuff and you're going to become one of those people. It's like a zombie apocalypse thing. You're going to become one of them. So you're going to be speaking those words pretty soon too. It's amazing. So many former students uh, who you know run into them 7, 8, 9 years later, and they all kind of have the same cadence of speech and phrasing of words, and it's all very business polished. But you like that, Matt?
Yeah, it shows the journey.
I see you're saving it. You can also, if you right click and copy the image URL, that will save us a little space in the repo, which is now getting.
Yeah, I
I
tried
don't
that, but
close.
for some reason it didn't work.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, maybe I should have done this one instead. Okay.
And the other thing about those URLs is, no, I don't think anyone's using any of
There
our
we go.
script, but I was kind of intending for people to use it. So,
Okay.
well, that's
There we go.
interesting though. So you see, I overwrote it. So if you go to that slide with the Green Lantern on it, you're gonna see a a bracketed span. So right there. So on line 131, see that bracket that says dot center and background image?
Yeah.
So that's nice to know because that still overrides the parallax thing. So if you just take that off, Diego, you just take off the whole bracket, the curly bracket part, and then
Mm,
we'll no longer have that.
I can also just replace it with the new image.
Yeah, you could, yeah. You could, the rabbit. You could. Do you know do you know that cartoon? Have you ever seen the Bugs Bunny cartoon where see, this is much more meaningful discussion than sitting in a business meeting and using acronyms.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Bugs Bunny where there's two gangsters and they're they're gonna hurt Bugs, but Bugs like turns the tables on him because that's what Bugs Bunny does, and he gets them to think that the police are coming, and it's not really the police; it's Bugs Bunny just talking in a different voice. but he keeps saying things like, "Would I hurt my good buddy?" You know, would I hit my good buddy over the head if he was here? And then he like hits him over the head, and this fake police officer says, "You could, rabbit. You could. You might, rabbit. You might." Anyway, I don't know what made
Why
me think of
why
that,
does
but
the police speak Russian? Like he's Russian.
no, it's supposed to be Irish because this was back in the
Irish.
50s when
Oh,
you could do like you could do stereotypes. You can't do that now. But yeah, it's supposed to be Irish. Okay.
why? Just because of Scott? What is it called? Is Scott Yard or Scotland Yard?
Well, I
The
think I think there was truth to some stereotypes. So occupationally, there were, on the railroads, it was I think Irish and Chinese immigrants largely. I think there was a very strong Irish presence in law enforcement. So I think you know, there's some historical validity to some of those stereotypes. Diego, I think we should start. I think we should use a plain slide deck instead of this one, and then see if we can play a little bit with those commands.
okay, let's see. Quarto presentation, right?
Yeah, because then we can play with the size of it. We can introduce some vertical scrolling and some horizontal. Let me look that up for you while you're doing this. I'm gonna look up horizontal and vertical scrolling. If I ever get raided like by the FBI, I'm probably gonna be safe. I don't imagine being hauled off for like bad internet searches because I'm looking for things like horizontal scrolling and vertical scrolling on Quarto slides. Like that's what my search engine looks like. That's why actually I don't mind just doing live searches. I mean, we're not, there aren't hundreds of people watching what we do anyway, but there's a few. There's a few, rabbit. There's a few. Well, there's all kind. Maybe next week we'll come back to this. There's all kinds of. We've talked about animation before on slides, but I think we might understand them a little better now. So maybe we'll revisit some of that stuff. And it sounds like I'm just pulling stuff out of the thin air, but as I'm looking for vertical and horizontal scrolling, I'm seeing other options here, and one of them is animations. So let's see, here we go, vertical slides. It's a navigation mode option. So actually, they're suggesting to do this in the YAML as well. I'm gonna put this YAML script in the comments, Diego. And yeah, it doesn't look like it came through all that well. No, because I lost the hard returns on it. I wonder how you do a hard return on a StreamYard comment. Sorry. Oh, so did you? There we go. So we're moving. Why don't you put in a couple? You want to put in a couple of different slides. So do two hash marks is a new slide. So maybe just put in Diego. Just put in slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. Just with 2 hash marks each. And then we'll see what the... Yeah, there you go. And then we'll see what it actually looks like. You can call it Middle Earth. Parallaxing. Now, that's it. That's a new background image. We need a parasailer across. Let me look for a PNG of a parasailer for you. We can see if we can put that on. Okay, neat. Now I'm looking for a parasailer. I'm gonna.
You know what I'm thinking? Like slide 1 would be the red journey, so all the way from the Shire to Misty Mountains. Slide 2
Okay,
would
now
be.
you. So you
Huh?
can do that, Diego. So if you play with the horizontal number in the YAML, we can make it jump more. So yeah, if you change that from 300 to, I don't know, just play with some numbers.
Let's
Looking
see.
for a PNG here that we can put on there for paragliding. Did it do anything? Sorry, I'm looking for.
Yeah, now it's slower because it doesn't move.
So as you go smaller numbers, it's smaller distance, right?
Yeah. I think, what if I decrease the size here? If I decrease the size, I guess it'll zoom in more. Oh no. I made a terrible mistake. It's the opposite.
So, but that's another thing that we should look and see if we could disable is that tiling feature. I guess it has to fill a screen, so it's probably. Whoa! What did you do?
I zoom in too much now. Okay. Let's think about this. 2,500. Let's make it, I don't know, 5,000. And this is
Trying to
make
find a
like,
paraglider background here with that is transparent. Kind of hard to tell actually from the editor I'm using. They say that they're transparent, but actually our studio is a pretty good editor for these images because it'll show a preview and it's easy to see in the RStudio editor whether the image that you have is truly transparent or not, because when it renders on an HTML page you get that weird tiled background. So Diego, I just put a URL in the comments. Do you want to grab that and we'll put that on one of these slides? We'll just see if we can get a paraglider on there since we're doing paragliding on Middle Earth.
let's see.
You should just be able to do. Yeah. So like I said, I'm not sure if that's going to render. It is a PNG, so that's a good sign.
We put it
Maybe
here
just
in
put
one
it
of the
on.
slides.
Yeah, just the exclamation point square bracket.
Wait, I'm going to create more slides. I think we're going to need like 5 slides.
Okay. I'm going to look for a different, or maybe I got my R open. I can check it in there. It's funny, using R as a as a tester to see if the image is truly transparent or not. No, that one won't be. So that's okay. If you get it in there, I'll find a different one now that I got R. Now that I got R cooking here. I'm sure I'll be able to find one in a second. I think it was Renata who showed me these transparent background. No, she showed me transparent background SVGs, which I wasn't familiar with. Do you know what an SVG is? Another acronym, probably.
No. There we go. Parallax image.
It's a little big, huh? I want to find a transparent background one. So, anyway, while I'm doing this, Diego, the other thing we should do is play with horizontal and vertical. So if you in the YAML, if you want to on the same level as your parallax background commands, so indented from reveal.js,
Yeah.
if you want to do it navigation dash mode,
Mm.
and then maybe we'll try each of these. But if you try vertical, I'm guessing as you advance now, instead of going left to right, it's going to go down, so we can see how that affects the image. So we should be traversing down the image now. Or not. Okay, so that's good to know. Let me see. Oh, it says if we use vertical, we should structure our slides using level 1 headings. So you're going to have to change those double hashtags to single. Now that's weird. Why? Oh, sorry. I know I cut out.
You
But
caught.
did you hear the?
Yeah.
Did you hear the level 1 heading?
What about
Sorry.
level 1 heading?
In order for the navigation code, in order for that vertical to work, we're gonna have to change those 2 hashtags to 1 hashtag, apparently.
Uh,
It's looking. Sorry, we might have to drop early because this is ridiculous. But it looks like you might want to try a mixture of level 1 and level 2 headings, and then we should see some vertical and horizontal mixed. So like on 17, 19, 21, if we change some of those,
just one heading like that?
Yeah. Do some of them as 2 though, because I think I'm not sure which way this. We're just playing with it, so I'm not sure entirely how they interact with each other. Nothing, huh? Okay.
Well, it did change the position. Now it's more down. It's a slide.
It's possible that this is just the location of the navigation as well. Let me see. Left, right arrows, left, right, and up, down. Oh, we just need to get vertical slides. So we're doing navigation, not slides. So what this is saying, what I gave you is what I gave you apparently is enabling the left and right cursor keys versus the up and down. Wonder if, let's try this. Let's try how the information is fading in instead.
What would be cool, like it goes horizontally for like slide 1 and 2, but then for slide 3 it goes vertical.
Well, and I have that. Doggone it. Sorry. I have that in my slide deck. But I think it's because of that mixture of like first level and second level headings. So we're missing something in there. I'm trying to see what we might be missing. This internet thing, man, it's like I don't know. I feel like I'm in the middle of the jungle somewhere. Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult.
People are gonna think that you're like a hacker in the moon.
That'd be cool, except for the air thing. I would like to breathe. Why would I be on the moon? Safer there from people who hate hackers.
Yeah, safe there from the government.
For the moon, in our Bullwinkle series that I do as transitions from this. Here's what we did last week, kind of thing. Right now they have moon men with them.
Moonland?
So moon men, so actual
Oh,
like aliens from the moon.
aliens from the moon. From the dark side of the moon.
They didn't specify that, so I'm not sure. But they are from the moon. They're little green men. And I think I don't know, they're either twins or they're just like Bert and Ernie kind of buddies. I don't watch the whole thing. I just watch the first little bits of them. So I've probably seen it at some point, but I don't remember. Well, this is a little annoying 'cause I don't know what
Oh,
else we
maybe
want.
it's this transition slide.
Sure, try it. Uh, vertical slide. Reveal uses classical linear slide. Linear. The heck does that mean? Oh, I think we want linear, not vertical. It's something. The command that we're doing is not just the way in which the slides advance. It's also the way in which you interact with the slide advancement.
Hmm.
Shard debris, Misty Mountain. Now, Diego, have you been watching the Amazon Lord of the Rings thing?
I tried.
You don't
It's
like
pretty
it?
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of people talking. You know how in the original, well, not the original, but the Peter Jackson movies, they have like a scene that's like 3 minutes of just Gandalf walking up Minas Tirith, and and you see the whole city, and it's all a lot of spectacle and set pieces and cinematography. None of that is in the TV show. It's just people talking in rooms all the time. It's like a show. It's like a TV show, but with a huge budget.
That's funny you say that because I haven't watched it, but I've seen reviews, and the reviews basically say it's just boring. Well,
Yeah,
there's some reviews are upset at some of the inconsistencies with some of the lineages and stuff, but a lot of it's just boring. All right, Diego, I put a new PNG in there, one that does have a transparent background. Let's at least get a parasailer on the background so they're going over Middle Earth. I'd feel happy if we did that at least. Can we
a
try that?
sailor.
Yeah, I got a transparent background now on a paraglider. I just put it in the comments. I think we need to put at least one parachuter going over Middle Earth.
Okay, let's do that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm, Oh, oh no.
Got too many tabs.
No, it doesn't like what I did.
Yeah, we'll probably just have like an extra double quote or something. That's okay. You can take out the paraglider, Diego. We don't need it. I was just being silly. Um, yeah, just take out the paraglider, I would say. Oh, you got the whole sequence on there though, huh? You, so we have Shire to Misty Mountains to Moria.
And then they go from.
Lothlorien.
I
Well, you
forgot how to
remember the whole
spell
thing.
it.
You just read these fairly recently, right?
Last year.
Mirkwood,
So,
Lothlorien to
uh,
Mirkwood, isn't that next? Or am I confusing
no,
that with
that's the
Hobbit?
Hobbit. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
Hobbit. And then they go to I don't know um where they split. I forgot how it's called.
Well, they split in
M
Moria.
in something. No, it's in the river. Where they have these big statues.
Oh,
Uh,
Emmen Mule,
okay, let's do that.
something like that. And then and then they go
And
to
then go
Minas
to
Tirith. Oh, back to
well, they did
Moria.
well. They
I,
all split, so I'm just gonna stick with Frodo.
you know, Tolkien. If the Amazon series didn't kill Tolkien, what we're doing would have. So
We can't criticize the show now.
no, we're worse than the show writers. I'm guessing.
Okay, now we will have to go down, and then
Okay, so let's see if we can get the down thing. Can you change the YAML command from vertical to linear, and then we're going to. Oh, you took it out. And then we're going to pay attention to those single hashes versus double hashes. So put a couple doubles in there, just mix it. Do one, do two, do one, do two, do one, do two. There you go. So I think we should be able to, I believe now, using the same controls, we should be able to go over and down.
oh, there we go. Actually worked.
It's kind of all over the place, isn't it? Now, the other thing we could do, doggone it, let's get the paraglider in there. Diego, with that with that title, we have to get it in there. Can you copy that URL one more time, and I'm gonna guide you a little bit on that. So right there, can you just do a exclamation point, square brackets, and then after the square brackets, do normal parentheses, and in there put the URL. All right, let's see what that does. I think we should get a paraglider
There we go.
in Middle
There he
Earth,
is. Yeah,
I believe.
he landed. He landed in the middle of the sea, though.
Okay, that made this entire evening worthwhile. I love it.
He missed the mark.
Yeah, he's gonna land in the water. All right, my internet's terrible, Diego. I think I should probably drop. Is there anything else on this that you want to test out, though? I think you're right. This would be neat for like, I could see this useful in like a business application if you could. It would be kind of, I guess, messy work to try to get all of
That would be a
the,
lot of work.
yeah, to get the sizing right in terms of what you wanted. The other thing is that the way we scripted it, the the advancement is the same interval each time, right? So if you were going to really do this, like if you, what do they call those fancy presentations that students like to use? They're not PowerPoints. They're kind of they zoom in on a spot.
I have
They
no idea. But
there's a
yeah,
name for them.
I
Yeah,
remember someone did it for one of our classes, and they had like drawings that they made
yeah. Show off.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always mark those down a little bit and show off. Like,
They
just
lose credit for so much effort.
yeah, just making everyone else look bad. That's um yeah, but so there is like there's something out there that you can get more specific in terms of zooming. And this, at least the way we scripted it, you would have to have the same advancement each time, so that might limit its application a little bit, I would think. That's pretty cool though. I think it's nice with a map in the background, actually. And if there's a paraglider. If we, I like how he's kind of moving. So when you go back now, when you go back to that previous, do you see how he's actually gliding over?
Yeah.
He's going backwards. He's being pushed by Sauron. He's blowing himself. All right. I better get out of here before my internet drops again. Thanks, Diego. Are we gonna meet on Thursday?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Okay.
haven't met in a while on Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's finish that
yeah, let's try
dashboard
that, and
put it
then
on
we can try
LinkedIn.
to figure out what we want to do next week too. Because
Yep.
I think we hit this pretty good actually.
Yeah. I guess we can try to make it look better, but I guess people get the gist of it.
I think so. Yeah, if you want to stress it a little more, I'd be fine with that. Otherwise, we can try something new.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, I'll
see
try
you
to get
Thursday
my.
then.
All right, see you Thursday. I'll try to get my internet better. Sorry, everyone.